Welcome to episode 7 of Down the Cheezehole, now with select words in Spanish to cater to a full gamut of audience.
Bueno.
Thank you.
That was 7, by the way.
Yes, episode 7, who need the translation the other way. The feedback from the last podcast was primarily based upon people who were upset with us that we never had cannibal sandwiches and that we thought they were disgusting. And I did learn that from several people that the proper way for them to be served is on a small piece of rye bread, just on the bottom, raw onion, Lowry's, some salt, pepper, and on rye bread. I apologize for making people upset.
And I do want to add to this. It's not that I think it's disgusting. I actually feel like they would taste good. I'm just more concerned about the safety hazards of eating raw
first.
ground beef. That's it.
Safety first.
Yeah.
I think they would taste disgusting. I don't practice safety very often, so why start now? But anyway, that's the scoop with the cannibal sandwiches. Yeah. And we went live to YouTube, which we've got a whopping, I think, like 3 dozen views.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's 3 dozen more than I expected. I thoroughly enjoyed the video element of the podcast, which I didn't think I would, because I was thinking, who's going to watch us idiots talking when all we're doing is talking? But it was kind of funny because you could see facial expressions and different things that we do during the podcast that you don't pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're on youtube.com/cheezehole. That's Cheezehole with a Z. We also have our very own website now, cheezehole.com, CheezeHole.com. And you can email us your comments, thoughts, ideas, news stories, selfies to podcast at cheezehole.com. So that's what's new since the last episode.
We're growing.
We're getting big.
Yeah, that's right.
We're big. I think I signed an autograph on Sunday at Menards.
Ooh.
It was Tim, but still, it was nice.
Yep.
Well, in the news this week, a couple of things happening. Let's start off with Wisconsin spent almost $100 million on medical gear for the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, like real early, like right away. Yeah, $99 million to be exact.
So that was us preparing as a state, and then where did this go?
Well, they were expecting all the, that there was just like the toilet paper was flying off the shelves. I think the local government was expecting all the ventilators and all the masks and everything are just going to be gone, so we better stockpile them early. And it says in this article that the state paid an Ace Hardware in DeForest almost $20,000 for 2,095 masks, so almost $9 a mask.
Well, that was the whole. There was a lot of news early on about people
like price gouging.
Yeah, price gouging. I don't think $9 is bad. I know there were some stories of different government agencies spending $50, $100 on masks and crazy things like that. Even speaking of price gouging, do you remember early on when Menards required masks and they were charging like $3 for the paper mask?
Yeah, started off like $1 or something, didn't it?
Yeah, it was $1, and then quickly they went to $3. Now, I don't know how their supply chain shakes out, and maybe they ended up having to pay more and more because that's the nature of the beast. But yeah, that was nothing new.
But how do they decide where they're getting their masks from? Why did they go to the Ace Hardware in DeForest?
Because that's who had them, probably.
And they were competing with other states, too.
You're saying to pull them in from a national...
Yeah.
Like you couldn't go to the Ace Hardware national, like, what? I'm just confused why it had to be the one
The National
DeForest.
Ace Hardware
Like, what
of America.
What lobby did the DeForest Ace Hardware have to...
Ace Hardware inadvertently 15 years ago ordered in 10,000 N95 masks, and they've been sitting in a warehouse. They're like, what are we going to do with these?
So some guy in DeForest screwed up once.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, he lost his job, and now he's, now look at you guys.
I told you so.
Yep.
I told you so. That's exactly what happened. You know it. So, well, speaking of masks, and there was some sad news that came out of Wisconsin. Last week we talked about the hunting priest, and he was hunting on the St. Norbert's grounds, and he was being harassed. Well, 8 nuns, I think it was down in the Milwaukee area. There was a convent down there, and 8 nuns in the same convent all died of COVID this past week, which I found super disheartening.
That is sad.
It was So there
so
was
close to
88
Christmas
sisters
and everything.
living
That's just sad. Go ahead, Tim.
There was 88 sisters living in that facility.
And by sisters, he means of the nunnery, not
Right.
not blood relation.
Right. Good clarification there. Yeah. For all those who are unaware that a nun is called a sister.
88 sisters living together down in Milwaukee. That only typically happens in Utah. I guess let's move on.
No, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Okay.
I like.
I guess let's move on.
I'm just glad to hear there are that many nuns still out there.
Yeah, well, the 88 the 88 are probably all in their 80s. I think being a nun has got to be something that, just like the priesthood, most people just don't have that kind of sacrifice anymore.
Right. That's why it was nice in last week's story to see such a young man take.
Yeah, which was our point. By the way, I reached out to him for an interview.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I did, and I did not hear anything back. I couldn't find a direct email for him, but I emailed the St. Norbert's,
The Abbey?
the academy,
Okay.
and I emailed the general thing. I figure it's Christmas.
I was gonna say maybe after Christmas.
Yeah, this is like a priest's busiest time of the year.
Yep.
They're getting ready for the birthday celebration. And,
that's right.
Yep, and they got other stuff going on, so I didn't take it personal. We were talking about the state government. I guess they're still squabbling about that Christmas tree.
Yeah, it actually turns out that the first one that they put up was removed because they did it without permit. And
I thought we talked about that. I thought they had that permit.
well, it turns out they got a permit after the removal of the first one and then put up a second tree.
That historical. They took out a permit for like a historical display, and that
Yep.
was for the second tree.
It says that the second one, the second one was put in hours after the first one was removed. So it sounds like they got the slap, take that away, went and got that historical permit, and popped up another one within hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is funny.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
There needs to be a tree up.
there does. That's what they figured. That's why there's one up there.
It also says that kids from all over the country have sent them ornaments to put on the tree.
Are they vegetables in the German tradition?
I would assume.
Did anybody hide a pickle?
Good questions. Maybe we should reach out to them for an interview. Yeah.
Maybe we should bring our own pickle into the Capitol and hang it on the tree. Yeah.
We could mail them one. A Cheezehole pickle.
So I don't mean to get off track here, but
we're supposed to get off track.
They hung
That's the whole
pickles
point.
Did that originally start with real fruits and vegetables that they'd hang in the tree? Like
No,
was it a
no.
real pickle? No, like way back, like it came from Germany. That idea came. So did early Germans? I mean, they used to put candles in the tree.
Right.
I mean, so did people put real pickles in the tree?
Well, Tim pointed out that they should technically be called cucumbers.
Well, but it's hard to say when it's an ornament because it very well could have been vinegared at that point, representing the vinegared stage of a cucumber.
Yeah, I don't know
it would
if
have
they
lasted
hung
longer, right?
actual vegetables in the tree. I don't know.
Here, can you Google that?
I'm looking.
Okay.
He's trying to think, but nothing's happening.
The squirrel in Christmas Vacation would appreciate some of those fresh veggies hanging up in there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't picture a tree with a bunch of actual candles and vegetables hanging from it. It actually makes my stomach turn.
A little unsettling.
Ew.
Yeah.
The Christmas tradition wouldn't be what it is today if we all had real candles and vegetables hanging from our trees. I don't think.
Any info on this?
Speaking of vegetables,
They don't really say.
I read this just last night in the news, and it wasn't Wisconsin related, but I didn't have time to see if it could be. There's a huge glut of potato? We were talking about no potato left behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Out in I believe it was like Montana, Washington, somewhere out in there, Idaho, I'm sure. There was potato farmers are sitting on their entire stock of last year's potatoes, which are typically sold as seed potatoes now. And they're figuring out how to get rid of millions and tens of thousands of pounds of potatoes that went unsold because COVID disrupted the supply chain to restaurants so horribly. So the article, and this is all from memory because I didn't plan on talking about this today, 55% of the nation's potatoes go directly to like processed foods for restaurants, French fries, things like that. So these guys are all sitting on a huge glut, even potato chips and things like that, a huge glut of potatoes, which I would imagine that has to trickle down to Wisconsin's potato farmers as well.
I would imagine.
Yeah. I didn't see any
sad.
news on it.
Yeah, I mean, I just found one of the articles that you're probably referencing here, and it basically says what you did. Just they're sitting on 100 million sacks of spuds.
Yeah, these were
2019.
These were in a big warehouse, and they were literally taking a front end loader, putting them in semi-trailer dump boxes, and dumping them in a hole.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, It was craziness. And they had tried to give away as many as they could. You know, they were literally bagging them and giving them away to families. But when you're sitting on millions of pounds of potatoes, you know, giving them away 5 pounds at a time really doesn't do you any good.
Potatoes for food service, like restaurants, hotels, and catering, make up more than half of all the potato.
Yeah,
crop.
55%.
So when
was
that
the-
industry takes a hit, that's half of potato farming, pretty much.
Yeah. So, no potato left behind didn't apply to 2020 because every potato was left behind. So I hope our lawmakers take that initiative back into action, considering every potato. There was a really cool story that came out a few weeks ago where a Milwaukee woman was the first one to take command of a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier.
Ooh,
Very
And
cool.
she's a Wisconsinian.
Yeah.
nice.
That's
Does anybody know any of the background on that?
Grew up in Milwaukee, as you said, right in downtown Milwaukee. According to the article, always just kind of a go-getter. So
Where did
not
you-
surprising.
She academy graduate, or did she go to school somewhere, or what's the story?
I believe it said Naval Academy, but let me find this.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first woman ever to hold the executive office title on board a nuclear warship. Wow.
So she's the XO.
Yeah. On the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, to clarify, for those of you, I do have a little bit of naval experience. The XO is second in command.
Okay.
The CO is the commanding officer, and the XO, which is an abbreviation for executive officer, you're just leaving off the E because I thought it'd be cooler to be the XO. So she's second in command. Still, though, that's impressive.
It is. And I like that she credits her roots a lot. She talks a lot about Wisconsin and kind of what separates her from coming up here. Right down to the fact that she is the only one aboard that refers to the water drinking device as a bubbler.
The water drinking device.
Well, I didn't want to use a term to choose one at the moment because there's the ongoing debate of water fountain versus bubbler.
I still call it a bubbler.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
I'm water fountain.
Water fountain.
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up a long time without ever knowing that anybody called it a bubbler.
Really?
Well, bubbler is a Wisconsin thing. I did find a little bit of the history on this, and it gets the name bubbler for the exact same reason that we call Kleenexes Kleenexes.
Oh, it was the name brand?
Oh,
It was a
really?
brand. And
didn't
so,
know
like,
that.
the first one, this dates back to 1889. A man named Harlan Huckleby, that's his real name, designed the first bubbler, and it was bought actually by Kohler Company, which is out of
Oh, well,
Wisconsin.
that would make
and
sense.
they coined
That
its
makes
name
sense.
the bubbler.
So Kohler picked,
yeah.
Kohler had the brand name, and Kohler's right here.
So that's where we get it from.
Well, you've got bubbler, which I still do call it a bubbler, although nobody can drink out of one anymore because it's 2020
Right.
and everything's wrecked. But there's a bunch of other, Wisconsin terms like that. I used to call it pop,
Oh,
but now I call it soda. I've graduated, and I don't know why. But I used to always call it a
I
pop.
feel like when I was a kid, I called it soda pop. Like I used both.
Maybe that was the transition, because when you were a kid, it's probably right when I was transitioning out of straight up pop myself.
Yeah. Eric, thoughts?
I'm a soda guy. I think people in the Was area use pop though, and that's where I'm from.
What
I've
about
heard
the
it a
West
lot.
Minnesotan side?
I called it pop growing up until probably around high school when I made a conscious change that I didn't want to call it pop anymore.
Were the kids
So this
making
was
fun of
actually
you?
like a
was still-
thought process.
Yeah,
Like
but it was still. I think everybody called it pop.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you make a conscientious
I don't know.
effort to not
It
call
just
it
seemed like
pop
a
anymore?
ridiculous word. It just didn't seem. It seemed childish and ridiculous to call.
Okay.
So at a
Call it
moment you
pop.
decided to grow up, you went from
That's
pop
right.
to soda.
That's right.
I'm an adult now.
That's right.
I like that. I like
so
that.
according to this Business Insider article, pop is what people say in the most of the Midwest and West. So that's kind of surprising.
What was that? There was that
Interesting.
that soda pop brand. I think it was from the West Coast that had all those crazy flavors.
Like Jones?
Yeah, Jones's.
I love
That's
that
who it
stuff.
was.
Yeah,
Jones's.
they still make them.
I haven't seen a Jones in
man.
forever.
I saw them this weekend at Pick and Save.
They taste so good, but it's like drinking a can of sugar. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
all
yeah.
that's in
Isn't
it.
Jones out of like Washington State or something like that?
Yeah.
And then they had flavors like cotton candy, but then they even actually have like weird ones like beef or something crazy.
Yeah, they're out of Seattle.
They always had the cool pic. Like every bottle had a different picture on it that people could submit
Yeah, I
different
think
photos.
they had like a turkey and gravy flavor.
Turkey and
Oh,
gravy.
yeah.
That was
Really?
it. Turkey and gravy.
Sounds disgusting.
100%. I knew it was a
Gross.
meat flavor. Yeah, you submitted your own photos and then they'd put them on the labels somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, we actually
Jones's.
had some in the fridge. My wife had some recently.
Oh, they're good.
Well, so the Charlie Barron's podcast has Jolly Good as
Ah,
a sponsor, and
That's
I didn't.
old school.
Super old school.
Yeah.
I used to. So when I was a kid, we'd go ice fishing, and to get me to shut the hell up because I was a rambunctious kid, my dad, he'd stop at the liquor store. He'd get a 12-pack of Budweiser for himself, and he'd
For
get
the drive?
for the yeah. Unfortunately, probably two. One for the drive and one for the ice. And he'd get me 1 can of Jolly Good.
So
Only one.
So his idea to make you quiet was to give you sugar.
And I was an obnoxious little brat anyways.
Well, I mean, they're all caffeine free, so that's good.
But I
That's
remember
still-
that Jolly Good, I think it was like, I literally think it was a dime a can.
Ooh.
And they were stacked in a pyramid, and I always wanted cream soda.
I
That
love
was my
cream soda.
favorite Jolly Good flavor.
Eric, you brought in Jolly
They
Good
still
soda.
have it. You can still buy Jolly
Eric
Good.
brought
yeah,
in
they
some.
get it at Triggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like
But
a
they're
quarter
fif-
a can
They're
still.
50 cents a can. now.
Where,
Really,
where
yeah.
in
Price
Wisconsin
gouging.
are they out of?
They were didn't the brand die, and then some company, I think around Green Bay area, I could be wrong, is the one that
Well, there's three. Wisconsin has a lot of really cool soda pop ties because isn't Sundrop a local thing too, or no? Or is Sundrop a southern thing, Ned? Because I think Sundrop is bottled somewhere out of the Fox Valley area as well locally. Shawano, I think.
Jolly Good is in Random Lake. It's from Crier Foods.
And they own it?
They own it now. Yeah.
Where's Random Lake?
they?
It's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know.
and
A lot of effort
it's
went into
really
that one.
random.
isn't Sundrop a Shawano thing now, or is it just bottled in Shawano and it's a southern thing?
Looking up
So
some-
Random Lake is south of Sheboygan.
South of Sheboygan.
Yeah.
Okay. So toward Lake Michigan area.
Sundrop is incorporated in the state of Tennessee.
So it is a southern thing.
And developed in Missouri. Yeah.
Okay. There's a bottling plant for Sundrop in Shawano, which is if you notice in Shawano, it's in all the gas stations and stuff. But once you get out of that area, it's not as prevalent. But then they've also got that deal where it's on all the shelves in Menards. It must be bottled by the 7-Up bottling company, which I think is, or is it 7? I might
Dr.
be
Pepper.
Yeah, it's Dr. Pepper. The root beer, it's all that same stuff that Menards carries in the $2.22 section.
There's actually if I'm reading this correctly, a Sundrop museum and gift shop in Shawano.
See?
Yeah.
It's owned by Twiggs Beverage. I don't know if they must have some ties to maybe the bottling or the company or something.
It's good stuff.
But that's in Tennessee.
That's in Shawano.
That's in Shawano.
Twiggs Beverages.
Oh, so it isn't in Tennessee.
Sundrop is, but I don't know if Twiggs
But Twigs is a
bottles it,
Wisconsin
or-
company.
You're right, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, we have some serious soda pop ties. We've got potentially Sundrop and Jolly Good.
And Sprecher. They make
Oh yeah.
Sprecher.
they make good root beer.
Nice.
Yeah, sure
Twiggs
do.
good.
Really good. Huh. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Point Brewery.
Well, weren't we talking about bubblers and a woman on a nuclear aircraft carrier? And,
We were.
Okay. Well, so much for that.
Thank you, Captain Amy.
Speaking of sugar, this was the most disgusting thing I have heard in a long time. There was a dentist in Wausau intentionally breaking people's teeth
Ooh.
to get the insurance from putting on caps. That's a WTF moment for me. And does
wow.
a dentist take the Hippocratic Oath?
Oh,
I would have no idea.
I would think so.
Yeah.
They're a doctor.
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, is the Hippocratic Oath a medical doctor thing? Is a dentist a medical doctor? Yes, right?
Yes.
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 Okay, so if they take the Hippocratic Oath, that's clearly a violation of that, wouldn't it be?
Well,
So this guy is of Grafton. Is that near Wausau?
Grafton's
Oh, I thought it was-
Grafton's Milwaukee.
Yeah, this says Scott.
I thought it was Wausau.
No, this is out of Milwaukee. You're right. Yeah, so it's Scott Charmoli, 60 years old, of Grafton, was charged Tuesday in federal court with 8 counts of healthcare fraud. He was accused of falsely telling patients that they needed crowns and then using his drill to break off parts of their teeth during the procedure.
Oh my gosh.
He submitted x-rays and photographs of the chipped teeth to insurance companies to obtain the coverage for the crowns.
What the heck?
Yikes.
And you wonder why people hate going to the dentist.
He performed
Well,
more
now
than
I'm
$2
scared.
million worth of crown procedures
Oof.
in 1 year that they're talking about here.
Wow. That's just
Yikes.
disturbing to me. Disturbing.
well, I mean, he's getting his sentence, 20 years. Faces a maximum of 20 years and a
And-
$250,000 fine.
That's a lot of crowns. $2 million worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find that so disturbing. You know, somebody
Yeah.
you put your trust in and they're breaking your teeth?
Yeah.
Wow. That
Question
one
your
makes-
crowns, people. Question your crowns.
Well, you need before and afters.
Yeah.
Before you put anything in my mouth, I want to see an X-ray. But I mean, that's not. I get this is an isolated incident. This is an anomaly. So,
Oh, hopefully.
yeah,
Hopefully there's others aren't doing there, just haven't gotten caught yet.
exactly. There was an article that the New Yorker had that said the UP is officially recognized as part of Wisconsin. Did anybody else read that?
The deal was that they had a comic strip. Well, I don't know. It was something about the winter snow stuff, and they had a weatherman in a cartoon form standing in front of a map. And in this map, there is no border line between northern Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula, so it looks like one landmass.
Mountain Dew had the same faux pas
Yeah.
like a year ago in an advertising thing.
I will note
And
that
the
there's
people-
also no Door County in that map. No peninsula.
Oh, so it's a bit. The map is not accurate.
No.
Was not drawn by a cartographer. Cartographer is a man who draws maps, I think.
Right.
A man or a
It is.
woman
Yeah.
who draws maps. A person who draws maps.
Well, the UP should be part of Wisconsin, I think.
Why is it not?
I wish we could talk to more
So back to
UPers.
the Mountain Dew thing. Mountain Dew actually apologized for its Upper Peninsula gaffe.
Here we are talking about soda pop again.
Yeah.
Well,
So they apologized, and I think they redid the labels and gave the UP back. Didn't they? Mountain Dew?
I mean, I guess it's the right thing to do, but
Yep, they did a special edition label for them.
The Upers got upset. I don't
They got
blame
a
them.
whole Upper Peninsula label.
I'd be proud of it too.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
our 51st state.
I'm curious to know, like, because I mean, I know a few Upers, but not a ton, and I want to know, and like the ones I know them because they come down here, but I would like to know like the average, what they identify with more.
Wisconsin or Michigan?
Yeah.
I think they identify individually more than anything.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
Upers are. I'm a Uper.
I guess you could ask like Packers or Lions. That'd be a good way.
Yeah.
I think they're mostly Packers because realize that eastern part of the UP is only not even an hour from Green Bay,
True.
isn't it? Probably 35 minutes. You know, maybe more you get toward Mackinac, maybe Lions fans, but I would even venture to say they're probably still Packer fans.
I saw a tweet once that said something like that the fact that Wisconsin hasn't taken over the Upper Peninsula from Michigan tells me everything I need to know about those cowards.
Well, what is the story? Like what?
Well,
How?
Eric, I think you know the story, don't you? It had something to do with a whole other
It was
state.
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio
Yeah.
scred it up for us.
Really?
How did Ohio mess
it
up
was
the
a land
UP?
dispute before Michigan and Wisconsin were states.
It was something like Michigan and Ohio
Michigan
were fighting
territory. Yeah.
over. They were fighting over a strip of land. Let me see if I can find it here. The state of Ohio and the territory of Michigan were fighting over a 500 square mile piece of land called the Toledo Strip.
And that was the UP?
No, that's
no, that'd
like
be down in Ohio area.
yeah. They
Okay.
fought over that particular piece of land until Congress stepped in and proposed a compromise. Michigan could become a state if it gave up that strip of land to Ohio, and in return it would get all the Upper Peninsula.
We
And
got hosed.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
what
we
was
did.
Wisconsin doing? Who was running
So
Wisconsin
because
at that
Wisconsin's sitting there idle, they just give
Well,
part
Wisconsin
of it away.
wasn't a state yet,
Nah.
so they had no.
They had only just become a territory the year before. Wisconsin had.
Yeah.
So
They were-
Wisconsin was never in the running for the UP.
Yeah.
time? Because we just didn't have our together.
Yeah, we were too far
Basically.
west.
Well,
too far west.
yeah.
I think.
We were
Too
trying
far
to we were
west.
trying to figure out if we wanted to put a Christmas tree in the Capitol, and then meanwhile somebody stole the Upper Peninsula from us. Well, we're talking Packers and Lions. I had a thought came to my head this weekend. This is a prediction.
Okay.
I realized that I have never procreated for many reasons. There's a lot of reasons I should never have a child. But I do have 3 stepkids who are basically 16, 18, and 20.
Okay.
And I was watching the Packer game on Saturday night by myself, which is typical. Sometimes because I have a tendency to lose my mind. If it's a game I expect us to win, I get very animated and nobody wants to watch the game with me. But if it's a game where I don't expect us to win, I'm pretty calm. But I realized I always watch the games with myself, and I have never seen any of them ever watch a Packer game, and they haven't.
Really?
They've
Really?
never watched a Packer game in its entirety.
Wow.
I'm honestly a little bit offended.
I think
Is it
I
time
would
to kick him out of the house? I
no,
think?
Yeah.
Is that
no,
what we're
that's
talking
not where
about?
I'm going
Is that
with
what
this.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I would wager that no kid under the age of 25 is watching a Packer game. or
I don't
any
even know what to say
NFL
to
game.
that.
Yeah.
Or any NFL game. I think that the NFL in 20 years will not have a fan base like it does now because they don't watch the games. They aren't fans.
Do you think these sprouts are watching a different sport?
They're not watching any sport in its entirety. They're not watching a Brewer game. They're not watching a Bucks game. They're not watching a Badger game. They know the outcomes of all games, and they're very well sports versed. They know players' names and things like that because they're getting their news from. I'm not making fun, from Instagram and TikTok.
Sure.
They're watching the highlight reels in 5-second intervals, and fan by definition is fanatical, and they're not fans of the game at all. Meaning of the team, they're not fans of the team at all.
This is deep. This is a deep
Oh, yeah,
conversation here.
yeah.
I like it.
You guys don't have children old enough, and I wish you did, but and Andy, you're in kind of a different situation, and I admire you for keeping your kids off of devices, but their attention span works in 6-second increments, and there's no way they could sit down and watch a 3-hour NFL game.
Well, my kids I always watch the game. The game's always on. And they don't care for the game, and they've said that, but they love it when the commercials come on.
How old are your kids?
3, 5, and 7. So they like the short bursts of weird stuff going on. They like the commercials.
Exactly.
They're not into the
Their
game.
heads are trained. The NFL better be aware of the shift, and I don't think I'm wrong on this. I would venture that this is a nationwide deal where there is not a kid under I picked the age 25.
I'm trying to think of people if I know a lot of people in that age and if they watch the game. And I'm just drawing a blank right now.
I might be a little young on 25, but I don't think I am because my stepdaughter Emily is 20. Of the kids, she's the one who may sit in the room during a Packer game, but she doesn't watch the game. And
I think that's probably gonna more common. Is the game is background noise for scrolling on your phone or doing something else.
Sure. That's sad to me. I mean, I look forward to that my whole life. All I can remember is like looking forward to Sunday football, watching the Packers, and yeah.
I mean, that's what formed my youth. We would watch the game, and when the game got over, my brother and I, along with the neighbor kids, would go out in the backyard and play football.
We started doing that this year too.
Yep.
We go out at halftime now
and pretend like I was Eddie Lee Ivory and Paul Kaufman and God forbid Lynn Dickey.
Andy and I will change that for the next generations because we got young kids. So
I don't think it's possible. I think that the NFL will have no fans in 20 years, in 2 decades. I shouldn't say no fans, but they won't have fans as we know them now. And it makes me wonder, too, like, how does that shift COVID ruined live attendance at football games, but what does that do? Like the Packers who have the million people on the waiting list or whatever it is, does that list now dwindle? Because I don't care if I go to the game live. I don't even watch it on TV.
Well, the television viewing experience has gotten so good that there's been less of a need to spend hundreds of dollars on a ticket to sit 100 rows
freeze
up,
your ass off.
and freeze when you could.
I hope we get some feedback on this one because like I have family, my wife and my extended family, they're in education, high school and elementary, and I would love to hear what they think about this. I'm sure they hear it.
I wish we could do a survey of 100 kids and say, when is the last time you watched even collectively like one half of a game? Meaning, let's say you watched the first quarter and the fourth quarter, or the third and fourth quarter.
Well, interesting. I guess what I took out of this mostly is that if we want to get the attention of young people for this podcast, we need commercials. Is that what I'm hearing, Andy?
Speaking of which, this episode is brought to you by Rugged Gear.
Yes, it is. We picked up our first sponsor, and we'll start to work some commercials in at some other point for them. But yeah, I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Well, I think we're already seeing that trend with baseball in particular. The viewership and the attention span to hold a kid for a baseball game, which has a lot less action. It's just one person doing something. So I think we're starting to see that with baseball.
I just saw a graphic about Major League Baseball. The average time of a game is actually shorter than an NFL game, and there's actually more action in baseball than there is like in.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, what do they consider action?
Well, they're considering like
a pitcher throwing a ball
Yeah.
is probably considered action.
Probably, but like I mean, if you watch football games, I mean, it's like you got to play, and then a commercial, then a play, and then a commercial, and it's
Well,
just,
yeah,
that's-
or
I
even
think-
you have 20 seconds in between
Sure.
plays, probably roughly
Right.
15. That was my observation, and
I hope you're wrong.
I don't think I will be, and we've got it historically documented that I said in 20 years there's going to be half the fan base there is now, because I'll be 70, and I'll be one of the sole survivors still watching the Packers every Sunday on TV, but nobody younger than me will be.
But I mean, that's going to go with every sport then too. I mean,
I do think it'll be a trickle down. Even again, like the kids who are super into hockey, they don't watch hockey.
I grew up playing hockey, and I rarely watch it anymore. I mean, I watch football, but I mean, hockey, I just don't.
Well, football's still the one sport that's on national TV every week. I used to watch basketball games all the time because it used to be on ABC, NBC. Now it's not.
Yeah,
it's on at
it was on
Christmas,
more.
and that's it.
What are the ratings for the NFL? Haven't they been dropping? But I mean, this is hard to judge because of COVID.
Well, they that Wednesday afternoon game, the Steelers and whoever they played recently,
Ravens?
was it the Ravens? Yeah. Had a higher turnout than the Game 6 of the NBA Finals by over double.
Even just streaming in general, the way we consume things, I think is a big part of why this is just going to go away. Well, that I just thought that was strange. Did I hear Brian leave? Because we're going to need Karen here soon. Can me?
Speak.
My
She was
gosh.
waiting in the wings. I'm going to warn everybody that this is a really long Karen review, but it is extremely worth it.
Okay.
I'm going to turn.
What's the place we got here?
The Smilin Moose Lodge, which is where the stabbings we talked about last week were in Hudson.
Sure.
No, this review is not related to that.
It is
stabbing.
not at all
Okay.
related, but the Smilin Moose
Interesting.
Lodge has almost 1,400 reviews with an overall rating of 4.3 out of 5 stars. This is a dandy. Karen, take her.
My crew left this place with less than a smile. I should lead with the fact that it was approximately 8:30 p.m. and the restaurant was nearly empty. At the start, our waiter Landon was amazing. After ordering our drinks and food, we noticed a touch tunes machine on the wall. Since we had all come together for a music event, we thought it fitting to play some music. We took turns suggesting songs and built up a smaller playlist that had approximately 10 songs on it. After about 5 songs, the manager came to our table and said, "Are you the ones playing music on touch tunes?" We replied, of course, with yes. He then proceeded to say he was hearing a lot of metal music. He was, and that it was family hour, and could we just hold off adding any more music and let what we had on our list just play out? Frustrated, we agreed and did not add any other songs to our playlist as he requested. When our third to the last song started to play, the bartender was told to unplug the machine, and she did. Even after doing what was requested of us, we were still punished for a lot of metal music, in addition to losing credits in touch tunes. Now, agreeably, those credits did not cost much money, and this review is not about money. It is about the fact that we felt targeted because of the music we were playing. If you do not want that type of music played in your establishment, then take it off your selections or turn it off during family time. The icing on the cake is when the same manager brought out one of our meals, he announced, "Hamburger, no bun." It was a sirloin steak. Learn your menu, sir, and respect everyone's choice in music, else remove the machine. A complaint has also been entered with touch tunes about your behavior. Enjoy.
Ooh.
Thank you,
Thanks, Karen.
Karen. Wow, where do we start?
There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot.
I mean,
And I feel like only a Karen would feel the need to write a novel
And
about.
since when do restaurants have family time?
Yeah, at the bar.
At a bar.
What's this
well,
place?
if it's a bar and
It's
grill,
just-
that's no-
it's a
She
bar and
prefaced it by saying it was 8:30 p.m.
grill. Well, 8:30 p.m. is not family time at
Yeah.
the bar and grill.
No, and my favorite part of this review is when you read it, she put that she felt we were targeted
Because
in
of the metal music.
in quotes, like targeted, like, I mean, typically something maybe regarding race or religion, but not maybe music type. I don't know. I just thought this whole thing was just so strange.
my two favorite parts are the burger no bun comment, the sirloin, because that's just funny. And the second was that they filed a complaint with Touch Tunes.
Yes.
Why does Touch Tunes care?
Yes,
They're going to be pissed.
They're gonna get paid.
They're
no
gonna
matter.
take that Touch Tunes machine right out of there if you
Yeah.
can't follow the Touch Tunes rules. I just couldn't believe this review.
But I think there might be related to Landon because they did mention that their waiter Landon was
The bomb.
amazing.
Yes, he was.
Well, I mean, at least to give credit where it's due.
It was
That's
1
good.
star because they couldn't play the metal music. I mean, I sadly, like, I definitely don't want to see anybody being discriminated against because of their music preference, but wow.
Yeah. That was a good one.
At the Smilin Moose Lodge.
At the Smilin Moose Lodge, 1 star because they couldn't play metal music on the touch
And
tunes.
that's funny that her review says, "My crew left this place with less than a smile." At
Oh,
the
I get it
Smilin
now.
Moose.
Oh,
she was
good
being
one.
clever there.
Hetchy.
Yeah.
Well,
Little frowning
it was
moose.
well written. It was well written. She had proper punctuation and everything. She just wanted to get her point across.
Yeah.
Wow, just wow. I guess the last thing I was going to talk about was we had talked about. Did we talk about horseradish or did we talk about
Talked about cucumbers and
No, sauerkraut.
potatoes and
I talked about sauerkraut.
Yeah, I was thinking it was horseradish, but the Wisconsin Farm Technologies Days were scheduled for this upcoming year. They're hoping that COVID isn't going to put a quick end to that. But it's going to be at Hunsinger Farms,
Nice.
which is the largest grower and processor of horseradish in the United States.
Oh, and where is this? Eau Claire, looks
Eau Claire.
like.
Eau Claire County.
Eau Claire County.
Which horseradish is clearly made from a radish.
Yeah, it is Eau Claire.
But
I don't
boy,
know much about horse.
we're
radish.
struggling.
Horseradish.
I don't either. But
It tastes good.
I
The largest
like.
producer in the U.S.
That's what I thought I read. Am I wrong? Did I screw that up? Can somebody fact check me on that?
The largest grower and producer of horseradish in the United States. Wow.
Is Hunsinger Farms near Eau Claire. I put another badge on our arm. Wisconsin kicking ass.
Yeah.
Horseradish is primarily used. I can't imagine that it takes a whole lot to be the world's largest producer. Do we use a lot of horseradish? Anybody know the annual consumption? I'm guessing it's annual consumption of horseradish probably isn't very similar to like ketchup or ranch dressing. It's got to be a little bit lower on the
Imagine
list.
not. I'm not a fan of horseradish.
Eric,
myself.
you're a condiment guy.
I'm-
Is horseradish a staple in your fridge?
Well, realize it goes in a Bloody Mary.
Well, I mean, the cocktail, with shrimp.
Oh,
but, I mean,
cocktail sauce, Bloody
Cocktail
Mary,
sauce, yeah, Bloody Mary.
and there's the entire world usage of horseradish
Yeah.
summed up in two things. I know that my mother. We've talked about how my mom used to make really bad cuts of meat into edible meals for us, and my mother used to make what's called Swiss steak, and you take a nasty cut of beef and you pound it with one of those mallets with
Yep,
like the little
tenderizers.
Yeah.
tenderizer, and then you slather it in horseradish and then cover it in tomato sauce and you slow cook it. That was Swiss steak, and
How was it?
I ate it because when I grew up, you got what you got and you get what you get and you don't throw a fit
And you can't leave the table until it's
until
gone.
it's gone. Yeah. Oddly, now it's one of those meals where I like it as an adult, but as a kid, I wasn't
I was
real
gonna
happy.
say,
Like
it
the
sounds kinda
fondness of
good.
it, like the
I would have hated it as a kid too, but it
To-
sounds good now.
To find out it was Swiss steak night was not my favorite ringtone. Yeah.
This place, this farm, they grow horseradish along with soybeans, corn, and forage crops. They have 7,000 acres of farmland in Wisconsin, and it bleeds over
That's a
into
lot.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Wow. So you said they do soybeans and radishes?
Soybeans, corn, and other forage crops. But they're the largest producer of horseradish in the United States.
it's just a little root, right? Like it's a vegetable.
Well, yeah, isn't it a radish, or is this like the pickles where we have to figure out what type of radish
No,
they
I'm
use for
pretty sure it's
horseradish? They don't use like a
is
little
like-
red radish like you eat. It's a different type of root, a different type of
Kinda looks
radish.
like
Yeah, it's like a long
looks like
tubular root.
Yeah, it looks
More
like,
like a carrot.
kind of carrot-looking thing.
I wonder if the Germans hung those on their Christmas tree. Do you think? There's a radish and a horseradish, which is different. And then there was a pickle, and then there was a cucumber. Well, another merit badge for the state of Wisconsin. We've got one more. Are we going to do an episode next week? Is everyone here?
I'm here.
Might have.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if it's possible to do one without Andrew because he's our technical guy.
Yeah, it's not possible.
I'll
You're the
be-
glue that holds
I'll
us
be in.
together, Andy.
So we'll have
I'm not
one more
very good at
episode
tech.
in December, and then we're going to bring in the new year with a call-in special guest. A call-in special guest calling us all the way from California. I'll give you that teaser.
Ooh, excellent.
January, we're going to be on Wednesday of that first week because that's when he was available.
Okay.
So, what is the date today? Like the 18th, 19th,
21st.
20?
You better
The
get your
first day of winter.
You better get your Christmas shopping done.
Is it not the first?
It is,
December 21st,
yes.
the winter
Yep.
solstice.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, the days are getting longer now? Or-
What?
It does.
Well, tomorrow technically,
Yeah.
right? Is this the shortest day, or is tomorrow the shortest day?
You know, then the people say, well, they're all the same length.
24 hours.
No, but we're starting to see some more sun. So
Today is the shortest day.
Well, that's
Today is the
fantastic.
shortest day.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that turnaround time.
First day of winter, that would be why we got 2 inches of snow this morning.
And there's also the Christmas star,
Fitting.
Yes.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Yeah, the first time you can see that in like what 600 years or something.
400 years, they said.
Yeah.
What? That's tonight?
It starts.
Well, you can see it
tonight.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be the first time you can see it.
Something tells me I'm not going to be able to identify that. I'm not a great astronomer.
Well, it's supposed to be super bright.
I'll probably be looking at like one of the satellites that they're using for
Hey, look, there's the
Starlink
Big Dipper.
internet and think that's it.
You'll probably be looking at your neighbor's spotlight through the trees. Wow.
The cell tower. I didn't know it was going to blink red. Well,
That made it easier for Mary and Joseph to follow. The,
blinks
when it
red.
blinked, yeah.
That's messed up.
On that note,
Yeah, well, we will be back next week. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Good night.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.